What if I told you most of Hollywood's biggest stars never even wanted to act? Yeah, that sounds like clickbait, but it's not. These 20 legends from old and new Hollywood accidentally fell into the spotlight while chasing totally different lives. Some wanted to dive for medals. Others dreamed of translating for the UN or scrubbing blood off a courtroom floor. Let's count down the most shocking stories of actors who hated the idea of acting. Number 20. Evangeline Lilly. Picture this. A broke university student and part-time waitress gets handed a business card on a random sidewalk in Kelowna, Canada. That was Evangeline Lilly in her early 20s. She had zero acting ambitions, zero headshots, zero desire to memorize lines. Her plan was simple. Finish school, find a normal job, maybe disappear into a quiet life. But a talent scout saw something in her face, something raw and unpolished. He handed her an agent's card and walked away. Lily stuffed it in her pocket. She didn't call for weeks. Then desperation kicked in. Rent was due. Tuition was climbing. She made one reluctant phone call. That single call led to small TV roles, then a massive audition for a show about plane crash survivors. She almost skipped that audition. Instead, she showed up in ripped jeans and no makeup. She landed Kate Austen on Lost, a role that made her a global star. Lily later admitted she still doesn't love acting. She took a long hiatus to write children's books, but that stranger's business card on a random street changed everything. Number 19. Kristen Stewart. Here is an origin story that sounds completely made up. A 9-year-old girl sings off-key at an elementary school Christmas pageant. Nothing special. Paper hats, glitter glue, a typical chaotic school show. But in the back row sat a theater agent. He wasn't looking for talent. He was there to watch his own kid. Then he heard Kristen Stewart's voice. Not because she was amazing, because she was weirdly fearless. She didn't care about the crowd, she just sang. The agent approached her mother after the show. He left a card. Her mother laughed. Stewart herself had zero interest in acting. She wanted to be a writer or maybe a musician. But the agent kept calling. A few small background roles turned into a lead in Panic Room opposite Jodie Foster. Stewart still says acting felt like an accident. She never took classes, never studied Stanislavski. She just showed up and frowned on command. That Christmas show accident launched one of the most intense careers of her generation. All because a talent scout needed a bathroom break and walked past a stage full of glitter. Number 18. Pamela Anderson. You want an accidental actor story? This one involves beer, a football stadium, and a jumbotron. Pamela Anderson grew up in Ladysmith, British Columbia. She was a total unknown. Her dream was to become a fitness instructor or a model, but only if someone begged her. In 1989, she attended a BC Lions football game. She wore a Labatt's beer t-shirt. That is not a typo. A beer company shirt. The camera operator found her in the crowd. He put her face on the massive jumbotron screen. The entire stadium cheered. The crowd went wild for this unknown blonde in a beer tee. A local radio station tracked her down. Then Playboy magazine called. Then Home Improvement called. Then Baywatch happened. Anderson never auditioned for anything. She never wanted to act. She literally just went to watch football and left with a career. She later said she felt like a fraud for years. She couldn't believe she was on television. A jumbotron accident turned a small-town girl into the most famous lifeguard in history. And it all started with a beer shirt and a lucky camera angle. Number 19. Taylor Lautner. Taylor Lautner never dreamed of seeing his name in lights. He dreamed of breaking bricks with his bare hands. As a kid, he trained in karate obsessively. He earned multiple black belts. He won world championships in junior martial arts. He also played football with savage intensity. Acting was a joke to him, a soft activity for soft people. But his karate coach in Los Angeles had a strange idea. He told Taylor to try acting, not for fame, for discipline. Lautner shrugged and went to a few auditions. He landed small roles, mostly as a fighter or a stunt kid. Then came Twilight. The studio almost recast his role because his body grew too fast. He gained muscle. His face changed. He refused to leave. He trained even harder. That martial arts obsession saved his part. He played Jacob Black for 4 films. Lautner never studied acting, never loved the craft. He said in interviews that acting was just a weird detour from his real love, which was combat sports. A karate coach's casual suggestion turned a black belt into a teen heartthrob. That is Hollywood chaos. Number 18. Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt had a very adult plan. She wanted to become a live translator for the United Nations. Yes, a UN translator. She learned French and German with fierce precision. She spoke with near-perfect accents. Her teenage journals were filled with vocabulary lists, not monologues. Acting seemed silly to her. Performers were too emotional, too loud, too unpredictable. She preferred the clean logic of languages. Then a schoolteacher noticed her stutter. Blunt had a serious speech impediment as a child. A teacher suggested acting exercises to break the block. She tried one scene, then another. The stutter eased, but more important, she caught the acting bug against her will. She still refused to call herself an actress for years. She took small stage roles while secretly applying to translation programs. Then a film called My Summer of Love happened. Then The Devil Wears Prada. Her UN dream died quietly. Blunt has said she still sometimes imagines her alternate life in a glass booth translating French diplomats. Instead, she became one of the most versatile actors of her generation. All because a teacher used acting as speech therapy. Number 17. Rachel McAdams. Rachel McAdams was a blade on ice. She figure skated competitively for most of her childhood. Her feet lived in skates. Her eyes stayed fixed on gold medals. She trained before school, after school, and on weekends. She had zero interest in pretending to be someone else. Her real plan was university, then a degree in cultural studies, or maybe law. She loved structure. She loved rules. Acting broke every rule she respected. Then she joined a high school theater production just for fun, just to kill time between skating sessions. Something clicked. She still ignored it. She went to college for cultural studies as planned, but skating injuries piled up. Her body said no more ice. She reluctantly auditioned for a few local plays. Then Mean Girls happened. Then The Notebook. McAdams has admitted she never chased Hollywood. Hollywood chased her while she was busy studying cultural theory. A broken skating dream forced her into an acting life she never wanted. And now she owns romantic comedy history. Number 16. Laverne Cox. Laverne Cox did not want to be an actor. She wanted to be a pop star, a serious, trained pop star. She grew up dancing with ferocious discipline. She studied ballet and modern dance for years. She performed in college musicals every single semester. Her voice was powerful. Her stage presence was electric. She believed music was her only path. Acting felt like a backup plan for people who couldn't sing. She moved to New York with a demo tape and big dreams. But the music industry crushed her. Rejection after rejection. She took acting classes to stay creative while waiting for a record deal. Then something shifted. She realized acting allowed her to tell deeper stories, stories about identity and survival and Black trans joy. That realization changed her. She stopped chasing pop fame. She embraced the craft she once ignored. Then came Orange is the New Black. Then the Emmys. Then history. Cox now says acting found her when she stopped fighting it. A failed music career gave us one of the most important actors of this century. Number 15. Bill Murray. Bill Murray was ready to fix your broken bones. He enrolled in pre-med at Regis College with full intent to become a doctor. He studied biology and chemistry. He dissected frogs with cold precision. But he hated it. The library killed his soul. The textbooks put him to sleep. One night, he went to a comedy show to blow off steam. He got pulled on stage. The crowd laughed. He felt a strange jolt of electricity. He dropped out of pre-med immediately. His family was furious. He didn't care. He joined the National Lampoon Radio Hour. Then Saturday Night Live called. Then movies. Murray has said in multiple interviews that acting was never a goal. It was a detour from a detour. He wanted to be a doctor, then a comedian, then a writer. Acting just happened while he was joking around. He still shows up to sets without reading scripts sometimes. He still treats acting like an accidental hobby. A bored pre-med student with a gift for chaos became a comedy god. That is the power of walking away from biology class. Number 14. Halle Berry. Halle Berry's first dream was a news desk. She moved to New York City with a broadcast journalism degree and a voice made for radio. She wanted to be the next Barbara Walters. Serious stories, hard facts, no makeup department, no fake tears. She worked small jobs at local stations. She wrote scripts and ran teleprompters, but the pay was terrible. A friend suggested modeling for quick cash. Berry said no at first. Then she said yes reluctantly. Then a photographer pushed her toward acting. She fought it for months. She thought acting was shallow. Then she lost her money. Then she lost her apartment. She took a small role out of pure survival. That small role led to another. Then Jungle Fever. Then Monsters Ball. Then an Oscar. Berry has said she still watches the news and wonders, what if? A broke journalism graduate who never wanted to perform became the first Black woman to win Best Actress. She literally fell into acting because her bank account hit zero. Hollywood's loss is television news's fault. Number 13. Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks has no formal acting training. Zero. He never took a single method acting class, never studied at a conservatory, never even wanted to act as a young man. He went to college with vague plans. He majored in theater by accident because other majors seemed boring. He said in a famous interview that acting just kinda happened. He worked as a hotel bellman. He carried luggage and delivered room service. A local community theater needed bodies for a Shakespeare play. Hanks showed up for fun. He had no ambition, no fire, no plan. A small-time director saw him and offered a low-budget horror film role. He took it because it paid $50. Then a sitcom called Bosom Buddies happened. Then Splash. Then Philadelphia. Then Forrest Gump. Hanks still seems confused about his success. He has admitted he never felt like a real actor. He still feels like a guy who wandered onto a set and never left. His entire career is one long accident. A bellman with no training became the most beloved actor in modern Hollywood. Number 12. Jason Statham. Jason Statham spent a decade underwater. He was the elite member of Britain's national diving squad. He trained for hours every day. He competed in the Commonwealth Games. His body was built for somersaults and twists. His lungs were iron. His goal was Olympic gold, not movie gold. He studied martial arts only for cross-training. He sold knockoff perfumes on street markets to fund his diving career. Acting never crossed his mind. Then a sports agent introduced him to a film director. That director was Guy Ritchie. Ritchie needed someone who looked like a real street hustler, someone who could move like an athlete. Statham met him for 10 minutes. He walked away with a role in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. He didn't want it. He took it because diving money had dried up. Then Snatch. Then The Transporter. Then Fast and Furious. Statham still calls acting his backup job. He prefers diving and fighting and throwing real punches. An Olympic-level diver who sold fake cologne on a street corner became the world's most bankable action star. That is a career built on a reluctant yes. Number 11. Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford was a carpenter. Not a set carpenter with Hollywood dreams, a real carpenter. He built cabinets and bookshelves and kitchen tables. He drove a beat-up truck. He had 3 kids and a mortgage. His acting career had died years earlier. He was so broke, he sold his blood plasma for cash. He took a job building cabinets for a young filmmaker named George Lucas. Lucas needed a deck and some shelving. Ford showed up with a tool belt and zero expectations. Lucas asked him to read lines for a movie called American Graffiti, just to help audition other actors. Ford read. Lucas liked his voice. He gave Ford a small role. Then came Star Wars. Lucas wanted unknown actors. He remembered the carpenter who read lines. Ford auditioned for Han Solo. He thought it was stupid. He almost walked out. He didn't get the part. Lucas fought the studio for him. Ford became Han Solo, then Indiana Jones, then a legend. He has said acting was never his dream. Carpentry was honest work. Acting was a strange interruption. A tool belt and a plywood cabinet built the most iconic movie hero of all time. Number 10. Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey was headed to law school. His father was a gas station owner. His mother was a kindergarten teacher. They wanted a lawyer in the family. McConaughey wanted to be a defense attorney. He loved the drama of a courtroom, the cross-examinations, the closing arguments. He applied to law schools with serious intent. Then, late in college, he switched his major to film on a whim. A total whim. He told his parents he was just having fun. He had no plan to act. He wanted to produce, maybe, or write. Then a casting director saw him at a bar. He thought she was joking. He auditioned for Dazed and Confused, wearing his own clothes from his own closet. He got the role. He still almost turned it down to finish his pre-law exams. His mother begged him to try acting for 1 year. That 1 year turned into A Time to Kill, then Dallas Buyers Club, then an Oscar. McConaughey has said he still studies law books for fun. A nearly lawyer who switched majors on a lazy afternoon became the face of romantic comedies and gritty dramas. The courtroom lost a great defender. Hollywood gained a freak. Number 9. Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron's knees betrayed her. She trained from age 6 at the Joffrey Ballet School in New York. She danced until her toenails fell off. She starved herself to keep a ballet body. Her entire identity was a dancer, not an actor, never an actor. Dancers look down on actors. Then a severe knee injury ended everything. One wrong landing, one shattered ligament. No more ballet, no more future. She moved home to South Africa, broke and broken. Her mother said, "Get a job anywhere." She flew to Los Angeles with no plan. A bank teller spotted her at a Hollywood bank. The teller gave her an actor's phone number. Theron ignored it for weeks. Then she needed rent money. She called the number. A small role led to The Devil's Advocate, then Monster, then an Oscar. Theron has said she hated acting for the first 5 years. She felt like a failed dancer playing dress-up. A destroyed knee and a bored bank teller created one of the most intense actors of her generation. Ballet's loss was cinema's brutal gain. Number 8. Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp dropped out of school at 15 to play rock music. He joined a band called The Kids. He moved to Los Angeles with a guitar and a dream of arenas. He played small clubs. He slept on couches. Acting was a joke to him, a sellout move for people who couldn't play instruments. Then his band failed. He needed money. A friend named Nicolas Cage suggested auditioning for a horror movie. Depp laughed in his face. Cage kept pushing. Depp finally auditioned for A Nightmare on Elm Street. He got a small role. He hated every second. He went back to music. Then 21 Jump Street happened. He took it only to pay off debts. He spent years trying to escape that show. He nearly quit acting to start a punk band again. Then Tim Burton called. Then Edward Scissorhands. Depp still releases music with his band Hollywood Vampires. He has said acting is just his day job. Music is his real life. A failed rock star who despised Hollywood became a three-time Oscar nominee. The world almost missed Jack Sparrow because he wanted to play guitar in a garage. Number 7. Al Pacino. Al Pacino wanted to play baseball. Not pretend, real baseball. Professional baseball. He grew up in the Bronx, idolizing Joe DiMaggio. He swung a bat every single day. He was good. Really good. But his grades were terrible. His mother forced him to attend the High School of Performing Arts. She said it was the only school that would take him. Pacino went strictly for the theater program because theater kids left him alone. He had zero interest in acting. He wanted to be on a diamond, not a stage. Then a teacher put him in a play. He stood in front of an audience. Something clicked against his will. He hated that it clicked. He joined a local acting troupe, but told everyone it was temporary. He almost quit 100 times. He worked odd jobs as a janitor and a mailman to survive. Then, The Panic in Needle Park. Then, The Godfather. Pacino has said he still loves baseball more than movies. A reluctant theater kid who only went to school because his mother forced him became one of the greatest actors who ever lived. The Yankees missed a shortstop. Cinema got Michael Corleone. Number 6. Will Smith. Will Smith did not want to be an actor. He wanted to be the biggest rapper on the planet. He was DJ Jazzy Jeff's hype man. He made playful hip-hop about parents and summertime. He won the first Grammy for Best Rap Performance. Acting was for sellouts. Then the money ran out. The IRS said he owed millions. Smith was broke famous and scared. A chance meeting at the Arsenio Hall show changed everything. A producer named Benny Medina pitched a sitcom based on Smith's own life. Smith said no. Then he said yes, because he needed cash. That show was The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Smith had zero acting training. He learned lines in his car between scenes. He stayed true to his rap instincts. The show exploded. Then Independence Day. Then Men in Black. Smith has said he never loved acting until The Pursuit of Happiness. A rapper who owed millions to the government and said no to a sitcom 5 times became a box office king. Hip-hop's loss was Hollywood's biggest accidental blockbuster. Number 5. Jon Hamm. Jon Hamm's pre-fame resume is bizarre. He wanted to be a lawyer. He studied English at the University of Texas. He planned to go to law school. Then his father died. Then his mother died. He dropped out of everything. He moved back to Missouri. He took a job as a set designer. Not for big movies, for soft-core adult films. Yes, he built furniture and lighting rigs for X-rated productions. He did this for years to make rent. He hated it. He also worked as a waiter. He was a teacher's assistant. Acting was not even an option. He was just surviving. A friend begged him to try a local theater audition. He got a small role. Then another. He moved to Los Angeles at 30 years old. Old for a new actor. He auditioned for Mad Men, not knowing what it was. He read Don Draper's lines cold. He got the part. Hamm has said he still can't believe he's an actor. He thinks of himself as a failed lawyer who built porn sets for a living. A 30-year-old nobody with a tragic past and an adult film furniture gig became the face of television's golden age. Number 4. Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio's childhood dream was not acting. It was marine biology. He loved the ocean. He loved whales and dolphins and deep-sea creatures. He spent hours at museums, staring at skeletons and dioramas. He wanted to live on a research boat. He wanted to discover new species. His parents were poor. His mother drove him to auditions for commercials only for money. DiCaprio hated commercials. He felt stupid saying lines for laundry detergent. He fought with his mother. He said he would never be an actor. Then the money got worse. He took a small role on Growing Pains to help pay bills. Then he took What's Eating Gilbert Grape because the script mentioned a fish tank. Then Titanic. Then The Revenant. DiCaprio still funds marine conservation. He still dreams of the ocean. He has said acting was never his first, second, or third choice. A kid who wanted to study whale poop and begged his mom to stop driving him to auditions became the biggest movie star of his generation. Hollywood stole him from the sea, but he never forgot. Number 3. Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman's story is the darkest on this list. He did not accidentally become an actor. He was forced. His parents pushed him into commercials at 3 years old. By 5, he was working full-time. By 7, he was a child star on television. He had no choice, no childhood, no say. He later said acting felt like a forced life and a prison sentence. He wanted to be a normal kid. He wanted to play baseball and ride bikes. Instead, he memorized lines while his parents fought over his money. He became the king of 1980s kid movies. The Goonies, Stand By Me, Gremlins. He made millions. He saw $0. His parents stole everything. He battled addiction and abuse and depression. Feldman has said in interviews that he never wanted to be an actor, not once. He was a slave to his parents' ambition. A forced child performer with no childhood became a cautionary tale. His survival is a miracle. His career is not an accident. It is a warning. Hollywood used him and threw him away. He never wanted any of it. Number 2. Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis never wanted to hold a script. He wanted to hold a private investigator's badge. After high school, he worked as a private eye for a New Jersey detective agency. He tailed cheating spouses and tracked down skip traces. He loved the adrenaline of stakeouts. Acting was a joke to him. Actors pretended to be tough. He was actually tough. Then he caught the feeder bug by accident. A local community play needed a last-minute extra. Willis showed up for free beer. He got a tiny role. He hated the attention. He quit. Then he tried again. Then he moved to New York and waited tables at a dive bar. He auditioned for a play called Fool for Love, just to prove he could. He didn't get it. He almost gave up. Then a casting director saw him bartending. He offered a small TV role on Miami Vice. Willis said no twice. Then rent was due. He took the role. Then Moonlighting happened. Then Die Hard. Willis has said in interviews that he still thinks like a private eye, not an actor. He studies people's body language. He watches exits and entrances. A failed gumshoe who only wanted to catch real criminals became the most unlikely action hero of all time. He never planned a single explosion. He just needed rent money. Number 1. Ken Jeong. Ken Jeong was a fully licensed medical doctor. Not a TV doctor, a real one. He graduated from the University of North Carolina School of Medicine. He completed his internal medicine residency in New Orleans. He treated real patients with real diseases. Acting was not even a hobby. It was a distraction. He did stand-up comedy on his rare days off, just to laugh, just to survive the hospital stress. He never wanted to be in movies. He wanted to save lives. Then a small comedy club booked him for 5 minutes between real acts. A casting director saw him. She offered a tiny role in Knocked Up. Jeong laughed in her face. He said he was a doctor, not a clown. But he took the role anyway as a joke. Then The Hangover happened. He played Mr. Chow. He improvised the nude trunk scene. The audience lost their minds. Jong kept his medical license for years. He told himself he would go back to medicine. He never did. He has said the only reason he acts is because his wife pushed him. She said, "You can always return to being a doctor. Try movies for 1 year." That 1 year turned into a decade. A real physician who hated the idea of Hollywood became one of the funniest scene stealers in comedy. His patients lost a great doctor. Movie theaters gained a chaotic genius who never wanted the job. Which one shocked you the most? Drop a comment and subscribe for more Hollywood secrets.